All right. Here we are.
Only 2 all rights this week?
Huh?
Only 2 all rights this week?
All right.
There we go.
So, what do you got for me? Episode 7? Episode 7?
Yeah, episode 7.
The Broken Man.
The Broken Man.
All right, so let's dive in.
Yeah, we get a rare pre-credit sequence from Game of Thrones, and the Hound lives. Did you see that? I mean, we've all heard speculation. I honestly didn't think it was going to happen, but he lives, and so we see he is on I think it's the Quiet Isle in the books, but he's alive. He was rescued by I guess you would call him like a minister of the faith of the Seven. And what does he tell the Hound? He says, God is not done with you yet. So, what did you think about that?
I just love being back with the Hound. So I didn't, when I went back over it, it just seemed, I don't know, like it seemed like it was inevitable that they were all going to die. You know what I mean? It just, the guy was too nice to him, and the Hound was too close to really making a change, and seeing what he wanted him to see for that to be true. So I just knew it's kind of like, Al Pacino and The Godfather. They keep pulling him back in.
Well, they definitely did that. They ended up slaughtering everyone there. It's sort of like this a rare place we never see in Westeros. They're trying to create this little utopia, building a church. They all get slaughtered by the Brotherhood without banners, and of course, the Hound. Instead of trying to, they were the Brotherhood without banners. Yeah.
But
yeah, same one. So the Hound is what?
I said seriously, they were the same ones? Because I don't remember them.
Well, they're the same ones. He said it in the episode. He said the Brotherhood.
Wow. I mean, is there a different Brotherhood? I mean, is there more than one Brotherhood, or?
No, it's the same one.
Wow. Okay. So they just didn't seem that brutal. It's like, why were they doing that? You know what I mean? It just seemed the fact that it put it like this. If it wasn't the Brotherhood, I would feel better about it. But it kind of feels forced that it was them, because that didn't seem to be in their character. If they were with the same, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe they were the rogue part of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But that's what he called him. Maybe he's wrong. I mean, George R. Martin has said, the character's perspective is not always accurate. So maybe that's the case. The show hasn't really followed that because, that would just be a little too confusing if there was more than one Brotherhood that was in the Riverlands. They are also the Lord of Light, so they are a natural rival to someone who's following the old God. So that could have been part of why they did that. But moving on.
The king mentioned that since your reunion, you haven't joined him in the marriage bed.
Had to be the creepiest scene in Game of Thrones history. Marjorie is in the steps reading the Bible, and the High Sparrow comes in, and what does he tell her? He tells her, you got to put out, Marjorie. It's time to put out. What do you think of that? We're going to see a High Sparrow threesome?
No. No, I mean, it is what it is. The only thing I really took from that scene was the High Sparrow is making another power play because
definitely.
He knows that if they have a child, he could the Lannister claim or whatever is seriously threatened if Tommen were to have an accident. You know what I'm saying?
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, it shows him for him just being, the same as every other house. He's playing the Game of Thrones. He obviously knows Tommen is not actually a son of Robert Baratheon. He knows that he's a Lannister and a product of incest, but he thinks he's turned them. Now we see that Marjorie has not drank the Kool-Aid. She is still has her faculties, and that comes up later when she goes to see the Queen of Thorns. And holy shit, like they're following her ass around. So like Marjorie and Tommen, they're like under lock and key basically. But she manages to get a message to the Queen of Thorns and tells her to go home back to Highgarden. So Marjorie's sending the Queen of Thorns home. What is she? Is she thinks she's just trying to spare her? Is she afraid of her? Because the High Sparrow did mention her, basically calls her out saying, you need to talk to your grandmother. And so she gets her out of there, away from the High Sparrow. But the Queen of Thorns does get a chance to tap dance all over Cersei's just face before.
That was good. That was really good. We expect really no less from Queen of Thorns in facing Cersei, but Cersei is has a certain way with words, and she can be biting and venomous. But man, did Queen of Thorns lay into her about herself. But you know what? I couldn't help but to think while she was saying all that, I was just a part of me thought it was possible, but I was.
Yeah, I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
You better watch your tongue. Best not lay. This is like Max Cady and Cape Fear. Best not lay a foul tongue on me, my friend, because I would not. I would be the nicest mofo around Cersei. Yeah, even if I hated her. I just be every time I saw Cersei, I'd think, "Oh, Cersei, you're so beautiful. You're such a queen. You're so queenly, Cersei. Look at your hair." I would not say a damn negative thing in any form or shape in front of the mountain. So lucky she's an old lady, I guess. She gets.
I thought about that for half a second. I was like, man, if she's just gonna go over and like pick her up and like slam her. And we'll talk about this later. For the reason went off on Cersei, I have a feeling the Queen of Thorns' days might be numbered. Just a sneaking suspicion. It felt like she was going to pay for those words. I don't know how yet. I don't know if it's going to be Loras being killed, but I have a feeling that Cersei will avenge those words. I think that, like you said, I agree. I wouldn't be talking bad to Cersei's face, at least while that thing is around. But moving on, we go up north, and we see Jon and Sansa go army shopping. This was a funny little bit. Right? Well, basically, what it amounts to up north is Rob has fucked up their army credit, and they can't get one, and they have to settle for the wildlings and the sassy little Mormont chick and her 62 men from Bear Island. What do you think of that?
I love. This is probably my second favorite scene. That little girl was on fire in that scene, and she
definitely was.
I didn't like at first. I didn't remember who she was until I started. Recalling all the other scenes that were referencing her, because I clearly had never seen her before. But man, did she just command that whole room, and I felt like when everybody just kept striking out, John made his piece, and then Sansa tried to step up, or Sansa was first actually, and then Davos. I think because of all his time with Shireen, and
yeah, definitely
kind of knowing how to talk to a child, because Shireen was every bit as smart and cunning as she was, but she just wasn't mean, and just wasn't like that authoritative sort of figure. And I thought Davos tapped into that, and that's how they were able to get the 62.5 men.
Lyanna Mormont is her name, as also, and Lyanna, named after Lyanna Stark. So
Lyanna Stark, but I was telling somebody earlier, don't sleep on the Mormonts, because every Mormont we've known on the show is pretty much a badass. So including our friend Jorah. So 62 might really be like 1,000, equivalent.
There is a 100% chance in my mind that those 62 men play some kind of huge role in the battle that's coming up at the end of the season. But we move on to that was pretty much it in the north. The other big sequence was Jaime leads the Lannister army to River Run. And is it just me, or do the Freys have like the worst army of all time? And
well,
how is it that the Freys is it just me, or do they look like they're like in a time 300 years before the rest of Game of Thrones? Like just their dress and the way they look, like they just look. They look like they're 300 years older.
Everything is sorry about them. I mean, look at their leader. He doesn't give a shit about anything except impregnating his daughter. So
maybe that's it. But regardless, Jaime has his mano scene with the Blackfish. We see the Blackfish again. Of course, the Blackfish is essentially Sansa's great uncle. It was Catelyn, her mom's uncle, and he's not budging. And they try to threaten to kill Edmure, the groom from the Red Wedding. He says kill him. He doesn't care. That's obviously building for next week. We'll see Brienne get there to River Run, and that's going to be a big choice point for Jaime. And he's sort of been in this redemptive arc for a couple years, and the catalyst for that was really Brienne. So it'll be interesting to see now that he sees Brienne again. Will he continue along that direction, or will he serve his family? I guess they find themselves at odds in their River Run. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, it was pretty. This whole episode was kind of, just building, doing the business, getting ready for what's coming up at the end of the season.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that, I think Jaime is hell-bent on getting back to King's Landing. There's a ticking clock on him in his mind because he knows of, all the stuff that's going on. He knows of the danger of the High Sparrow and how Tommen has just kind of fallen into the black hole of that whole situation. And he's worried about Cersei, so he's trying to get back. And I don't think I don't think Brienne is going to get in the way of that. And I think they're going to come to blows, but it probably won't be him and Brienne. It'll be Brienne and Bronn, because Bronn keeps telling Jaime, "Look, you got one arm, dude. I don't know what you think." Even though he did teach him how to fight really with it, but Jaime is not where he used to be, like back in season 1 Jaime. And certainly
definitely not.
Certainly not Kingslayer Jaime. So Brienne's going to get there, and she has her honor and she sticks to her whatever Sansa told her to do. That's what she's going to stick to, and anybody in her way is going to come to blows. So I think next week we're going to have probably maybe a death in there somewhere. Maybe Jamie. I don't know, but
we'll
get hurt.
We'll talk about that. We'll save that for the end. Let's move to the east, and just a quick bit of business. We catch up with Yara and Theon, and they have obviously somehow they've gotten together with Littlefinger, and they've figured out how to travel in Westeros, and have made it all the way around to Old Valyria, and which is really close to Marine. So they're heading to try to beat Euron to Marine and offer Daenerys, that Dragon Queen, their fleet of ships. That should be interesting. I definitely like the idea of her joining forces with those two much better than if she teamed up with Euron. I think if she teams up with Euron, she's definitely going to be the villain of this whole show. What do you think?
Yeah, I 100% agree. We have speculated that that's where she's going. But the funny thing is, when she gets there, Daenerys might not be there.
Well, in Game of Thrones timing, they'll get there at the same time.
They'll get there at the same time. That's true. But yeah, I mean, here's what's probably going to happen. I mean, my prediction: she's going to get there, and Tyrion is going to probably be the one to really be like, okay, I know Theon, I know, because he knows who they are, and he has come face to face with Theon at least one time, I believe, in the first season.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be like, all right, this sounds good, especially if they warn them about Euron. They have the ships there. They can just hitch a ride. But they're going to run into Euron on the way back. And that's going to be a battle.
Well, maybe that's when Daenerys will unleash, the dragons, and they'll take his ships. I don't know. That'll be interesting. For sure. That we, it's good. I like, it seems all great joys lead to Daenerys for whatever reason. But moving on to the big shocker at the end, other than the Hound shocker, but Arya, she books passage for a cabin back to Westeros. She's heading home. And
I was so mad.
Stabbed by the wave and left for dead.
I was mad at this whole sequence.
Yeah, and for the first time, I really fear for Arya. I really fear for her.
She was just as stupid as Sansa.
I don't think Arya is going to die. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's possible for Arya to die. Otherwise, what would be the whole point of her, the Faceless Men? The most interesting theory that I saw, and to give credit where credit's due, I think it was someone on Reddit, was that I don't know if this is true, but it would be interesting if some variation of this was the case. But that Arya and the mate were the same person, almost like a Fight Club type of thing, where once she went into that house,
I saw
that
theory. Yeah, I did. I don't buy it.
I don't either, but I would like to, ultimately I like Arya with Jagan. Although their chemistry and Jagan, I was a huge fan of Jagan. The second season.
Yeah, but he hasn't been the same. He hasn't been the same Jack.
He hasn't. So maybe that's, I don't know. I would love it if somehow they could work together. I don't know. I think there's something else to this. I think that,
the only thing I could see, like, what I could think happened here is that, it was really odd how they chose to end it with her just walking down and bleeding in the street, and which, by the way, I thought, she was stupid because she's just walking around like it's okay. Like she's, waiting to go back from Disneyland. She's just like looking out over the water and she's eating a Snickers bar, and this old lady, it's like, whoever comes up to you, not to trust. I mean, she knows better. She knows better. Why is she just walking around in broad daylight? Why didn't she steal a face, do something, but at least try to conceal herself? So she deserved every bit of those knife jabs, but I think she's going to be saved either by one of the people in the play. Maybe the girl, the woman that she saved, might see her and take her on a ship or something. Or I might go on a limb and say, since we're bringing people back whom we never actually saw die, then maybe Mr. Farrell might come, or maybe Gendry. Well, yeah. But Gendry wouldn't have been set up though. There'd been no reason for him to be involved.
Who did you say?
Asteria Farrell, her teacher.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still think this is somehow part of her training. I think that maybe she has to die. Maybe,
I hope so.
Maybe that's something that maybe she's already.
I hope so. I hope this is like somebody else had brought up not only Fight Club, but they brought up the game. Like this is kind of like Michael Douglas in the game, and all of this. You know what I'm saying? Is somehow not real, or it's all a game, and just and Jack and it's a Sean Penn character. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It should be interesting. I and that's pretty much the episode. I was surprised a little bit that they brought the Hound back. This show. They're talking about 13 episodes after this, and they just keep expanding. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like you would expect this show to start contracting a little bit, and it has with Tyrion and Daenerys, and I guess that's what we're seeing is the movements towards that, where at River Run, and we're going to have obviously the Battle of Bastards coming up. So
is that the name of the actual episode?
It's the name of episode 9, I think, isn't it?
It is. So we're coming up on 8 already. Jeez.
Yeah.
What is the name of episode 8 coming up?
I'm gonna look. It is. Isn't it Battle of Bastards? Oh, no way. That's what it is. That's it. Yeah. So based on that, just based on this title, that's it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the title is called No One, and that obviously has to do with Arya. And I think that she's going to die. I think that that's part of it.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, or definitely, this is somehow a part of it. Not that she has to necessarily die physically, but this is somehow part of her training.
Right.
Maybe she's going to go back to the House of the Undying and offer and beg for mercy, beg for death. I don't know. But we've got, okay, so new segment this week. Who won the episode? A game is not a game without winners and losers. So, who do you think? Well, let's start with who lost the episode first. Who lost the episode? And it's just any character that just literally looks like they're in the ship.
Sansa and Jon Snow.
Yeah, I would say I would say definitely Arya. For me, for reasons that you pointed out, she definitely lost the episode for me, just because she's in a world of hurt, and she's in trouble, and so, it came down to a close. I mean, you could say the Hound lost the episode too, just because he was trying to rebuild his life and had found peace and found his little, his little hippie tribe there, and then they're all dead, and of course, like you said, just when you try to get out, they pull you back in. So I would say a Hound is close second for me. You think John and Sansa?
Yeah. John and Sansa, and I don't even want to put Davos in that, because he when he opened his mouth, he actually got the win.
he got him the win, yeah.
But John and Sansa repeatedly got just their ass handed to them, with their weak ass sales pitch,
yeah, right.
We're Starks. You promised to be with Starks, It's like, come on, let's get over that shit, I'm trying to think who else. Oh, well, the winner and the loser is in the same scene for me. So,
okay, so go ahead. Who's your winner?
So my winner is Queen of Thorns.
She won the episode?
For owning Cersei.
Oh, I mean, it's up to you. You get to decide who you think won. I go a little. I will stay in the same family and go with Marjorie won the episode, and here's why. Here's why.
It was a better move.
She is, she's in a tough spot, and she's proving to be a better navigator under worse pressure than Cersei or anyone else. Anyone else in King's Landing, any Lannister. I mean, you could say Tywin Lannister probably, obviously made more moves and stuff like that. But Marjorie, let's remember, Marjorie was married to Renly. She was married to Renly. So she was married to Joffrey. Like, this is her third marriage. I mean, to me, what she's been able to do, she's been in a dungeon. Her brother's still in a dungeon. Like, she's being followed around by that crazy nun.
Right.
I think hands down for her, giving her due this week. And second place would be, for me, it would be Lyanna Mormont for just being a badass and a sassy little girl and holding her ground. She's definitely got that spirit in her.
I was going to say the Blackfish would be a second winner for me.
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, definitely, for a scene, I think we're maybe looking at it two different ways. Yeah, I would say Cersei. I mean, Queen of Thorns put Cersei in her place, and anytime and anybody that gets to do that, it's such a rarity. And it's amazing, like how, I don't know, that the walk of shame changed me in the way I relate to Cersei, and I don't enjoy her. I don't enjoy her being put in her place or her comeuppance. I just have pity for her, and that's interesting because I had a whole lot of animosity. I'm not gonna say hate, but I can't stand the character.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Maybe it's
but she's definitely.
I don't like her. I don't like her.
She's definitely won some sympathy cards in the way that Jamie did, over season 2 and season 3. So,
yeah, maybe it's all our kids dying.
I would.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I don't want to see Cersei die. You know what I mean? Because I think with the walk of shame and with the death of two of her kids, it's like, shit, what more? You know, everything that she's done already, everything she did to Tyrion,
right.
I think she's paid for that, you know? So to see her die at this point would actually be a little bit sad. Like I wouldn't welcome her death.
I think it depends on how it happens.
It depends on how it happened, right? Exactly.
I think Cersei is destined to go down with King's Landing in a really foolish way. Like I think she's going to suffer. I think she pays for her attitude and her suffering, and she'll continue to pay for it with Tommen's death and ultimately the stripping and the loss of all her power. I think that's just destined to happen since the beginning. But speaking of death, another new segment, who's dying next? And anybody for any reason, you go first. And you can give me a couple names, but who do you think's next on the list of who's on the chopping block? Because we're going to have somebody coming up. Like, we're in episode 8, and you know, I mean, what's been the biggest death so far this season? I mean, really nothing. The biggest death this season was Jon Snow's resurrection. Right?
Well, no. Yeah. I mean, that's the obvious one, but I would say
Three-Eyed Raven.
Bruce Bolton.
Who?
Bruce Bolton.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I guess what I mean is there's no fan favorites. I mean, you could say Shaggy Dog or Summer, Bran's dog. I think those are probably.
Then Hodor, obviously. Was the big
Hodor. Yeah, you're right.
Hodor.
So we got Hodor and also the Three-Eyed Raven. So you're right. We've had some, but we're definitely going to have more.
Well, I mean, for me, Brienne is on the chopping block.
Really? You think Brienne? Wow. I
don't want her to die, but I think she's going somewhere where if she is going to oppose Jaime, she doesn't have an army. Jaime has an army. She has Pod. Jaime has Bronn. You know.
Yeah, but remember, Pod and Bronn are friends. You know, it's going to be. I look forward to seeing that little reunion. Podrick and Bronn. You know, without Tyrion, the two Musketeers.
Yeah.
So you think Brienne? Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Arya. But you know what? In a Trump-like way, like it's sort of like, yeah, you know, the same way Jon Snow dies. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be something like that. I don't think she's leaving the show, but I think that what you're seeing now, I don't know about Sansa. That's the only one, and Rickon, but we're seeing, you know, think about it. We've seen Jon Snow be resurrected. We see Bran become the Three-Eyed Raven, and I think we're going to see Arya become a faceless man. And that's going to involve her. I think we're going to see Arya become a faceless man. I think all the Starks are going to end up sort of somehow embodying some kind of supernatural power. Or being a part of the seven, you know, being the actual physical embodiment of the seven, you know, the church, the face of the seven, or the old gods. You know, I think in some way, you know, that's what's happening. So I think Arya will be next. I'm gonna say Arya. I have a sneaking suspicion the Queen of Thorns could die. I don't know why. I just do.
Well, I've always feared for her life just because of her damn mouth. So.
And I think the Blackfish too is on the list. I think it'll be heroic, but I don't know. I can't see Brienne. I think it's too early. I can see her dying for Sansa later on, maybe at the battle for Winterfell, but I can't see it now. But you know, you could be right. That could be the thing that Jaime has to do to really turn dark. You know, because if he kills her or has anything to do with her death, like he he will become possibly the biggest villain in the show. One of them,
right.
for sure. And probably as big as Cersei was.
Right. Well, because if Ramsay goes, there's got to be another villain somewhere. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's all about that balance. So, I don't know. It should be interesting. No one, episode 8. I can't believe we only have 3 episodes left, dude. What are we gonna do?
Well, we're gonna keep the show must go on. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, but man, I mean, it just goes by so quick. It just really does. And I'll tell you, you know, I had a lot of explaining to do to people who had binge watched the entire season in, like, you know, one setting, or, you know what I mean, over like a 2-week period. So I feel like the more and more we go on in the series, these turns, like who's the blackfish, and, you know, like I think when you binge watch it, you don't recall all of it, you know?
No, you don't.
So shout out to yeah. So, well, it should be good. That's all I got for this week.
All right. So, see the rest of you out there in TV land. Next week we have, what is it, Jeff? the Battle of the Bastards.
I thought you were gonna make me.
No one.
I thought you were gonna make me teach you how to count again. It's only 3 left, and no, Battle of Bastards is episode 9.
Okay.
And then the Winds of Winter. So, you know, I'm expecting. I mean, if you remember where we were, and this is kind of, you know, considering we were at Hardhome last year at this time. We had just watched Hardhome. That was episode 7. So,
I thought episode 8.
Was it?
Yeah, it was episode 8.
No. Really?
Yeah, I just watched it the other day.
What was 8? What was 7?
I don't know what was 7, but it wasn't Hardhome.
Are you sure?
I'm 99.9% sure. I can look it up right now because I got HBO Go right now.
I'm trying to look it up. Yep, it was 8. You're right.
Yeah.
So
right.
That means that we should have a good, you know, just looking at what happened last season in those last 3 episodes. So.
Well, right now the curve is.
Hold on to your boots, man.
We're done with all the setup, so it's
it's all payoff from here, and then sadness for a year, and that rhymes. So I'm out.
Yeah. All right. Next week.
All right, man.